Meeting of the Harlan Township Board of Trustees to order. As a reminder, the meeting is being audio and video recorded. Would you please stand and join me? First, I'd like to do a moment of silence for the victims of Hurricanes Helene and Harlan. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jenny, would you please read the message from the previous meeting?
Board of Trustees of Harlan Township met in regular session the second day of October 2024 at regular meeting place of 8276 State Route 132. Trustees Edward Brzezinski, Kevin Kern, and Marcus Shelton present. Meeting called to order by Mr. Shelton at 7 p.m. Mr. Shelton asked all present to stand and say Pledge of Allegiance. Minutes read from regular session September 18, 2024. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to approve minutes as read, second by Mr. Kern. Minutes read from special session September 21st, 2024. Mr. Shelton made a motion to approve minutes as read, seconded by Mr. Kern. Mr. Mason reported road department out late Friday, September 27th for storm cleanup, and it has continued to clean up in the township. Mr. Mason reported concrete completed in State Route 123 maintenance, that's 132 maintenance building. Mr. Mason reported the concrete completed at State Route 132 maintenance building. Mr. Mason reported working on quotes to remove large tree on Guston Ryder Road. Mr. Mason discussed need to purchase 2,000 gallons of beet heat for $4,260. Mr. Shelton made a motion to purchase 2,000 gallons of beet heat, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Mr. Mason reported that Matt Latham from Warren County Park will be attending the October 16th trustee meeting. Mr. Mason reported one burial at Edwardsville Cemetery and drain appears to be working. Old business, Mr. Brzezinski attended the Zoning and Regional Planning Commission meetings. Mr. Shelton reported township received title for Tahoe from the Warren County Sheriff's Office. New business, Mr. Brzezinski attended the Warren County Association meeting and discussed November dinner meeting that will include township elected officials speaking and what is expected of townships. Mr. Brzezinski discussed the $1,500 Warren County Township Association scholarship that is available for Warren County students. Mr. Brzezinski plans to attend the October 8th Warren County Regional Planning meeting. Ms. Williams discussed changing the appropriations within the fire funds. Ms. Williams increased the training from $20,000 to $31,310 and reduced machinery, equipment, and furniture from $300,000 to $288,690. Bridget Ballard reported upcoming events for Township. There will be an event Saturday, October 5th. Bright Acres will have trunk or treat on October 20th from 3 to 5 p.m. and have rental agreement for December 14th, all at Butlerville. Lincoln will have the trunk or treat on October 27th from 5 to 7 at Station 81. Mr. Shelton reported the haunted hayride normally held at Whitaker Park has been canceled this year. Community comments, Peggy Brown stated disagrees with trustees with Dusty Venom and asked how word continues missed on the paperwork. Also stated Fields could lose members of the fire department. Mr. Shelton stated ongoing investigation and was not able to discuss at this time. Mr. Shelton made a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 3358.17G1. Seconded by Mr. Kern. Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, yes. Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Mr. Shelton made a motion to adjourn executive session, seconded by Mr. Kern. Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, yes. Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion for privileged records to be available to appointed investigator for purposes of current investigation only, seconded by Mr. Kern. Correspondence reviewed. Mrs. Williams gave written financial report to trustees. Mr. Shelton made a motion to pay bills, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Mr. Shelton made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Kern. Meeting adjourned at 8:10 p.m.
Before we approve those, you read them correctly, but we need to amend the ORC 3358.17 G1 to ORC section 121.
Wait a minute, ORC. Say it again,
Oh, which one? First one or second?
the second one.
ORC 121.22 G1.
Do I have a second on that?
Second. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes with amendment?
Make a motion to approve the minutes with the additional
Amendment.
amendment.
Before we do our reports and whatnot, we have Mr. Latham with us from Warren County Parks. Would like to do a presentation.
Thank you, Mark. Just so you know, I may look at my phone every once in a while. That's because my notes are on here. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come before you today to introduce the Warren County Park District. My name is Matt Latham. I'm the director of our park district. And, you know, I don't know if we've ever had the opportunity to come before you before, so just really appreciate that opportunity. Just so you can get a little more acquainted with us, we are a county-wide park and open space provider. We're currently preserving a little over 1,700 acres of land across the county in across 19 different properties, 13 of which are open and available as public parks, free to the public, that are open every day. And then we have 6 that are currently just set aside as conservation land that we hope to someday open as future parks. But this time we don't really have the funding to open them all in the way that we would like to. But anyway, we offer opportunities to get out into the great outdoors. Armco Park is probably our most well-known park up between Lebanon and Monroe. We've got 311 acres up there and a 110-acre lake. Our second most popular park is Lambton Deerfield Park in the Mainville area. Got about 100 acres there. We have parks distributed all over Warren County, although right now we do recognize that there is a gap in our service here in southeastern Warren County. We really don't have anything out here at the moment, but we are working on that. So we are governed by a 3-member board of park commissioners. Ben Yoder, Jeff Blasey, and Wendy Monroe are our park commissioners. And like all park districts in the state of Ohio, they are appointed by the Warren County probate judge. We are technically our own separate political subdivision. We are not a county department, even though we work very closely with Warren County and the commissioners. And actually our funding is about half of that comes from a grant that the county commissioners pass through to us each year. That's about $1.5 million. And the other half of our funding, about another $1.5 million or so, comes from the business units that we have at Armco Park. So we operate there a boat dock with rentals, 18-hole executive golf course, a softball complex. So that park generally just kind of almost pays for itself through the money that we generate there, through the activities that people pursue at Armco Park. And then the rest of the parks are funded through the generosity of the county commissioners. We tend to focus on natural resource conservation, outdoor recreation, and nature education. That's generally where our mission is. Actually, we're engaged in a strategic planning process right now to try to get out into the community and understand people's needs and what they're looking for from us. And so we've done a public survey. We've got 600 survey respondents. We have a steering committee from all across the county. Mark's been participating in that. And we came up with a new mission statement, so I'm going to try to recite it from memory. This is going to be my first attempt, but Warren County Park District enhances the well-being of our community by preserving quality natural spaces where all are invited to discover and experience the great outdoors. Got it. All right. But anyway, as part of our strategic planning, we've been looking across the state, looking at other counties that are similar in population and similarly situated to Warren County, and looking at park districts that exist in those counties that are, around 200,000 population, mix of suburban and urban and rural. And what we found through that study is that Warren County Park District currently is preserving the least amount of land of all these comparable park districts from across the state. And we are also the least funded of all of those park districts. Notably, the park district does not have any kind of property tax levy. All of our funding either comes from money that we generate or money that's passed through from the county commissioners. So, but we are looking as part of our strategic plan to try to identify and connect various park and green space assets all across Warren County and start to think regionally about how we look at parks and green space and trails and try to coordinate the activities of both ourselves, but also work closely with the township parks, city parks, villages, and so on, so that we are complementing what they do and adding to it and not competing with it and trying to do the same thing and duplicating services. So that's part of our strategic plan that we're working on right now. We believe that parks bring a lot of benefits to the community in terms of a great quality of life. Physical and mental health is a huge focus area for us. We've seen scientific studies that show that time spent outdoors reduces ADHD symptoms in children. It reduces stress in children. It reduces the rate of depression in adults, which is really important when we think about things like the opioid epidemic and suicides and things like that. We can really make a difference by providing people with access to the great outdoors, that they can get out and they can get away from the cares of life and find a peaceful place to relax and recharge. Economic issues are always very important. If your property is near a well-managed park, it's going to be worth more than if it's not. If it's near a trail, if it's near parks and trails, it's going to be a more desirable property. We have studies that can back that up. And then when companies are looking for places to locate their businesses, they want places with great quality of life. There's that in surveys of CEOs of companies, the second most important factor that they look for in terms of where to locate their businesses, does it have a high quality of life? So really, that is just my way of introducing us to you. And really the thing that I'm interested in here is just trying to understand, how we can serve you better and how we might be able to partner on common goals. And that's why I'm here tonight. So I really thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and to introduce ourselves.
Would you like any questions?
If you have questions, I'm more than happy to entertain them from anybody.
Why do you feel that Warren County has less volume of parks than other areas that are similar?
I really think a lot of it just comes down to funding. There is a lot of grant money out there, like the Clean Ohio Fund provides a lot of grant money for acquisition of parkland to set it aside for nature and for passive recreation. but those funds require matching funds, you know, and so if you don't have a reliable funding source for your park district, then you can't put up the matching funds that you need to pull down those grant dollars from the state to create those parks, that's like other park districts are doing. So I think that's really, it's really a funding issue, a capacity issue in terms of, you know, what can we fund, what can we maintain. And so we're hoping our strategic plan will shed some light on that and help us to find a path forward in terms of trying to do more for Warren County.
During the COVID pandemic, did they stay open, Warren County Parks?
They did, and actually we saw the highest usership that we had ever seen in that year. You know, a lot more people getting out. They didn't really have a whole lot of choices in what to do, so a lot of them got out into the parks. Our park visitation was off the charts, and then it dipped a little bit, and now it's starting to go back up. Because, you know, during the COVID pandemic, more people got to know us and more people got to know what we have to offer. So now they're starting to come back.
Your opening statement, you mentioned you were looking at places in Harlan Township. Can you expand on
Actually,
that?
I'm not sure it's technically in Harlan Township. It might be Salem, but there's a donor that we're working with down in this area, and I can't really say a whole lot more about it at this point. And actually, that's a good segue just to mention something else real quick, is that a lot of the work that we do is with property owners that reach out to us that are interested in conserving their land for natural resource conservation, and not wanting to see, you know, their legacy go to, you know, 3-acre lots, you know, and suburban type development. And we love to partner with those kind of owners who are interested in conservation. You know, we generally are looking for areas of 100 acres or more, or you know, because these are supposed to be countywide regional parks that are serving a countywide population base. So anyway, now that you know we're here, if you in your travels around the township, if you run into people who express those kind of feelings, those kinds of interests, and want to talk to us about how can we help them preserve that land for nature and have it not go to development, I'm very interested in talking to people like that.
Anybody else have any questions?
Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. I appreciate it. And yeah, Katie's here to keep an eye on me, so.
They're my client too.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Layton.
All right, thanks so much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Steve, are you ready for the report?
Yeah, the only thing I have on the fire side is the membership approved Michaela Anderson. Michaela was on the fire department for several years and she had moved out of the area. I believe it was earlier this year, but she is back and she'd like to rejoin the department. So the membership approved her on Monday night, and I just need a motion from the board and a second to approve her membership.
She was great with the department. I'll make the motion to approve Michaela Anderson.
I have a question on that. Is she going to be probationary again
No.
or full-fledged?
Full-fledged.
Because it doesn't say here.
Second that.
Sorry.
She's already done all that.
Yeah, the road crew has completed the Wayne's Way project, getting the paving done. They had to do some dig out on some gravel. They had over some culverts. That's all been completed. The ditching's been completed. So that one is completely wrapped up now. They've been doing some base repairs, digging out sections of Pleasant Renner that were had lots of potholes. So they're working on that, about having Pleasant Renner done. They're also working on the interior finish now that the concrete work is done.
Thank you.
They're putting like the thresholds in. Jeff, you want to expand on any of that, what you guys are doing there? That sum it up.
Just redoing what we have toured.
Take apart, right? Yeah, so that's gonna put back together. PNB tree, did get that tree removed on Guts and Riders. That's been taken care of and it is gone. I had a question regarding taking questions from the live stream. So you guys have any discussion, any thoughts on, the question was, can people put questions on YouTube and then have those questions answered at the meeting via YouTube chat? And I will shoot that over to you guys to have a debate.
Would that be something we would have to include in the next meeting? So we would field the questions and then.
So
include
it
them at the
it would
next-
depend. I mean,
following
you
meeting?
could, you could do it during your community comment section where I just collect the comments as they come in. And then when we got that section, I'd have to read them or somebody would have to read them, and so forth.
Do any other townships that you know of?
Not that I know of, but I don't know. I don't believe so. In most meetings I've seen on video, you have to go in, you sign up, you get 3 minute max, and then you go through the meeting that way. I don't know. I've not seen any that do things video based. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
How would you verify that they're township resident?
you couldn't verify they were, yeah, it's anonymous. It could be anybody from anywhere.
I'm not sure we want. Maybe they can already email us, call us, come to a meeting. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think if the resident wants to submit a question, we could answer it in the following meeting, and that way we would kind of know.
How do you know if they're resident? I mean, you've
It would
got,
be back to the same as the email, and it would be,
that's what I mean, we already have.
I mean, we're already set up for that.
Numbers.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but I mean, not tonight, I mean, we're discussing.
More discussion. Yeah. All right. Last thing on the maintenance side, I have a handout for you. I know Ed is looking forward to this one. House Bill 47, which I brought up at the last meeting, which I don't think was real publicly, pushed, which involves putting AEDs at any public park or meeting space, essentially. So if you have a population of 5,000 and you own anything, you have to put an AED at that location. So we are just at that threshold. There is some questions. I did talk to the OTA director for this. He said there's a chance you could subtract out your incorporated areas within your township, which would get us within like 50 people one way or the other. So we're basically, you're right there at that verge where we're probably going to have to do this. I asked, is there any way? I said the issue we have is with theft and vandalism. So we have issues with the bathrooms. And my question was, if an AED gets stolen every week, what do we do? And the answer was, you put a new one up there every week. Like, well, that's not really going to work. That's not really possible. We said, well, some places are using some sort of a ring camera. Well, we don't have internet access back to the park. So, but basically the answer was there's no way around it. You have to have these AEDs. So obviously the one here at the school and the gymnasium is not, too hard besides the cost. I've not yet got with Stryker to get a cost. I'm going to ballpark 5,000 to 10,000 per with some kind of a case to put them in. That's just my spitball guess based on what our AEDs cost. So figure maybe $20,000, and obviously we can insure them, but how many BFIS is willing to pay for after they get stolen? And so I said, just hypothetical. These things, we literally, we put one up and every month one disappears. And the answer was, well, you got to buy one every month. Like, well, that's.
Is there a way of putting them in places where we have electric, close to electric, where we could have some kind of an alarm on it? Like if somebody was to break,
Yeah,
used to put them in a cage,
it has to be, it has to be somewhere that's accessible 24/7. So people, it has to have signage that this is where the AED is, and it has to be easily accessible by anybody to get it at any point.
Would that apply to it not being used during, the park's not even being used at this time of year?
It has got to be there, because if somebody goes back there and they don't have it, and
people do use the walking trail in the winter.
also, right. And then he said, a likely scenario is going to be that you're going to have law firms that will hire people to go check all the parks
Mm-hmm.
to see if you don't have one, and it's that way. So there's also an emergency plan that has to be adopted, and they don't have that done yet, which sounds very government based to me. But they have this plan that you're going to have to adopt for use of the AEDs. And you have to practice it once a quarter. Like, well, who am I going to practice it with? Like, and I didn't really get an answer. It was kind of vague.
Well, I've got to interrupt here. Who's going to take legal liability if somebody uses that, it's not qualified.
That's, if you use it, you're not qualified to use it, that doesn't become our problem. Our problem is if you don't have it there and somebody goes into cardiac arrest.
Because I've had to be trained every year on that.
If they're in a public space, and you take it and use it, like you're trying, then that becomes you. That's on you for taking it and using it.
So we're gonna need you everywhere at once. Is they're requiring this? Are they gonna send out any funding?
They give you some grant ideas at the bottom, and one of the grants which we just applied for is the firehouse subs grant, different grants. And no, they're not going to give you one, but they'll tell you where to go ask for money.
We just had the parks just here.
Yeah, which really isn't this.
There was our funding right there.
Yeah, I'm thinking there was
They're not
some.
gonna give you one.
There had to be some lobby from Stryker and different AED manufacturers, because this is a boon for them to be able to sell, every township over 5,000 out of every park, they're gonna get to sell a whole lot of AEDs. And probably sell them multiple times because they're gonna disappear. Or they're gonna be vandalized. So I'll get some pricing. So the answer I got from OTA was, you got no choice.
We can put a glass that you would have to break to
I'm sure they'll like it.
What's on the corner? And that would
it
set
would be more front
the little
after
hammer,
breaking.
but then that would set the alarm trigger. And that's kind of what I was wondering, if you could put an alarm on it.
No, a better way to protect it.
Yeah, so we can look at that. But anyway, long story short, we're gonna spend some money on AEDs.
We have till October 26th.
24th, actually.
What, this year?
What?
Oh, yes. October 24th of 2024. Keep in mind, they don't even have the verbiage for the emergency plan you have to have yet. So, again, this is a very cart before the horse thing, it sounds like. But that was the answer. So I'll get some pricing together from Stryker, what that's going to be. Last thing I have on the cemeteries is the Daughters of American Revolution event is Saturday, October 26th. I have the handout I gave you. Somebody wants the handout, look at this. You can. This is for the plaque that was installed by Richard Livingston up there for Benjamin Baldwin. So they're going to have some light refreshments afterward, October 26th at 10:30 in the morning. So I have a flyer here if anybody wants to look at that later. That's all I have.
Are we gonna need to make a motion to approve money to get this?
Well, I'll get pricing first. I'll get pricing first.
And then we're gonna figure
But
out
we
what
don't have a meeting
locations.
until.
We don't have a meeting.
November.
I can't even get these delivered probably before a month's period, a month or 2 months anyway.
No, I mean, even if you order them, once everything's approved, then you order it. We gotta have places, but they don't even have the verbiage finished.
You can't adopt this.
So I mean,
They gotta give you some leeway, but they don't have to, I guess, but hopefully they would. That's all I got for the report.
you guys have any other questions for Steve? Let's go to old business. Ed.
I attended the Warren County Rural Zoning Commission meeting yesterday. It was the second hearing for a parcel in Franklin. That's all I have for old.
The Tahoe that the sheriff department donated to the fire department has been delivered. Do we have the title paperwork?
I have not switched it over yet. I have the title, yes. I've not had a chance to go get it switched over.
That's, we need to add that to the insurance.
Yep.
And then also the bleachers that the farm club donated to the township, been delivered. Larry, I guess, went and took care of that, yesterday? Just kind of set everything up there in the gravel in the park for now. We need to go through them and kind of replace boards and whatnot, but saves us
Who
a
was
ton.
that donated by again, please?
Farm Club, 4-H. Machinery. all I have for old. Do you have any old, Steve? I don't. Jenny, do you have any old? New business, Ed?
I kind of went over this with new business last meeting, but our county trustee dinner is November 7th. And if anybody, one of us three wants to go, we have to make a motion to approve township payment. So I'd like to make a motion to pay for the township elected officials to attend Warren County Township Association meeting.
Second. Anybody going?
Just contact Ralph, that email that I sent you.
I'll do it.
All right.
At Armco Park at 6 p.m. on the 7th, November 7th. There will be, I think, a county commissioner. I think Matt's going to be there again. There'll be a few judges. There'll be different people. Give a little bit of input about the county, where we are today, and where they expect to be.
I guess on that, since we're not having a meeting until the 7th, I think what we can do, because the reservations are due the 1st. So if you make your reservation, let me know so I can know how much I need to write a check to the Township Association at the next meeting. And then whoever's going, I'll ask to hand deliver it.
Kevin?
Jenny, does that include the, wasn't there one for fiscal officers also? Is that a separate meeting?
Same one.
Is that the same
It's
one?
it's the whole,
Okay.
it's the whole Township
Okay.
Association.
I have any of them. Steve?
And so I met with, myself and Larry met with Eric Lakens, and I'd like to offer him a full-time job. The numbers that we discussed in the meeting was $22 per hour, 80 hours of sick time. He came from the city of Mason, which fortunately we did not have to accept the sick time from Mason. He had like 1,200 hours of sick time from Mason. So we talked about 80 hours of sick time, 40 hours of vacation to start, which gives him credit for the 6 months he's been here seasonal. So he does have his Class A, CDL, equipment experience. He's worked out really well on the township, being able to come in and do, not need much in the way of training. And then also, I like to do in 6 months, he would receive another 40 hours of vacation to give him. Basically, he's getting credit for the 6 months he's worked, and then we get 2 weeks spaced out over his first year. Discussion there.
Jenny, do you understand what he just said on the vacation?
Yes.
With our new policy, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? I know we've talked about it, but any discussion on that? You guys good with the 22 an hour?
I think we already went over all that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve Eric Likens as a new township employee full-time. 22 an hour, 80 hours of sick time, and his vacation.
Second.
I do one more too.
You have any-
And before you do that, you need an effective date.
Yeah, October 26th.
This has to be stated. Thank you.
Also met with Philip Henson today to do his evaluation. His end of work for the seasonal is October 31st. This is official last day. Actually, he's only going to work through Wednesday that week. I would like to keep him on. Our new handbook terms it as an intermittent employee over the winter in case we get in a situation where it snows 8 feet and we need somebody else to come in to help relieve somebody.
You'd like to keep him on what?
It's in our handbook. It's an intermittent employee where the irregular hours, he may not work at all. But we'll keep him on we have to keep him on the drug test list. And he was okay with that. He can get hit at any point if he stays as a driver, since he is a Class A driver as well.
What is his rate of pay? It would be just
Be
keep it the
same.
same.
Yeah.
What is his rate of pay? You know?
18.
Need a motion for that? To keep them on or make a
Yes,
motion?
but wait a minute, you're taking him up to 22 also?
No, he's meeting the same,
Okay, he's
same
staying
rate,
same, just
18.
making
Yeah,
sure.
and then
Okay.
yeah, that effective date to switch over would be November 1st. He would then go to an intermittent status.
Okay.
Make a motion to keep Philip Hanson on intermittent status.
Second.
That's all I got.
Jenny, do you have any?
No.
Maybe I'll do community comments first. Get people on the, do we have any community comments? Hey,
I'd like to know the progress on the investigation of Chief Bennett. How far along are you?
I'm gonna refer that to Katie, because I mean, it's an investigation. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say about it.
I don't know how far along it is. I mean, there's an investigator that's been appointed and I know he's done some work. Talked to some, I don't know, I think he's talked to people. I think he's collected documents, but he's not necessarily communicating every step of his investigation to the trustees or to myself, because he's doing this independently. So I'm not aware.
And the investigator is Frank Williams, right?
Mhm.
So how is it legal to have him as an investigator since he's not an impartial third party? At least not ethical or fair.
How do you mean impartial?
Well, he's part of the levy committee, and it's very well known that he did not get along with Chief Bennett. That's not impartial.
I was on the levy committee and I never saw anything like that.
Okay. You also, from what I understand, did not listen to any
Karen
other
was on the
members.
levy committee also. Karen, did you notice any kind of? No, he was pretty neat.
So a lot of those, our fire department is volunteers, right? Yeah, a lot of them are not wanting to stay if something happens to Chief Bennett. So what is your backup plan for providing the mandatory fire service that our township deserves?
Well, ma'am, we're
We
not,
hire from elsewhere?
Katie, we're not, I mean,
I'm a little fired up over this, I'm
well, I
sorry.
can understand that, but the trustees aren't the ones here that are on being investigated.
Then explain to me what he's being investigated for.
When it's all over, we'll be
When
allowed
it's
to
over,
talk
when it's
about that.
decided.
No, we
Yeah.
can't decide anything until everything comes out.
Hmm.
Am I right on that, Katie?
Yeah, well, if you want me to explain the process, I can.
Mhm.
So there's a statute, 505.38, that says that anytime there's an allegation of misconduct by a firefighting personnel, they have built-in protections under the law, under that statute, that require the trustees to appoint an independent investigator to investigate whether the misconduct is substantiated. So that's the point where they're at right now. It's not a criminal investigation. You hear the word charges and you hear the word investigation and there's a prosecutor involved. And so people's minds automatically go to, oh, he's being accused of something criminal, and that's not the case. It's a workplace investigation for an allegation of workplace misconduct. The statute requires a private citizen to be appointed by the trustees to conduct a fact-finding investigation, a workplace investigation. So that's what they've done. That person won't make any decisions. That person's only going to submit some kind of report to the Board of Trustees. That report will be public record. And then from there, the trustees, if that investigator says, yes, there's some misconduct that I believe is substantiated here, at that point, the trustees will have a decision to make. If the investigator says, no, I'm unsubstantiating any allegation of misconduct, there's no decision to be made regarding the firefighter. So that's where they are at this point, at this stage in the game. They're just following the statutory process that's built into the law.
Is there a timeline for the investigation?
There's not,
There's not.
no, not a legal timeline, no.
So it could take a month, it could take 6 months, it could take a year. Like it's the potential to go.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the responsiveness of the people who the investigator is trying to reach out to get answers from, including the chief himself. So, you know, depending on how quickly he can get responses, that's how quick the investigation will last.
Could you explain the process of how the investigator was selected and what his background and credentials and the reason he was selected?
Actually, we only had two, and one of them, he was basically our last appointment. I mean, there was two people to be considered and one didn't show. The other one, and Frank has an HR, I forget.
He had done them before.
Yeah, he's done tons of these types of investigations through his employer and whatnot. So he's familiar with kind of how the process works.
Okay.
Where
Why were there only two though? I mean, there's only two in Warren County,
we
or
needed to get,
how did you have to, you know what I mean? How did you narrow it down to only two
it needs to be a
people?
resident, right? Of,
Doesn't have to be a resident, but I
curious.
think you did, consider cost.
yeah, cost was another factor.
So how much is
So
this
we went with the
costing?
cheapest and the only guy available?
Nothing.
I mean,
No, he's not charging anything.
no,
So cost was
it's not necessarily a good thing. Not a good thing.
Well, when you have somebody
But
that
okay.
has the experience that does this type of thing, he's not gonna charge you anything. That's good for the township.
Okay, unless he's got something
For somebody.
for somebody, yeah.
So cost was in question for how this person was appointed, but cost is not a factor in the investigation. Why was that a factor in deciding who to go with?
Cost in the investigation, I'm not sure.
Well, you had just told her that another factor into choosing would be cost.
Right, do we wanna spend 5,000 to 10,000 for, a lawyer to handle it? You can do an independent investigator who can also work with the prosecutor's office, make sure everything is done correct.
How can you figure that the independent individual is going to deliver you an unbiased opinion?
Considering he was on the fire levy,
The fire-
or the committee, sorry, committee, I apologize.
He's not delivering, he's just delivering facts.
Yeah.
It's not like, shouldn't be and won't be opinions based.
Can you guarantee that? That's the thing. That's I guess what the heartburn is with some things.
Investigator really should be somebody who doesn't know either party.
And based on the the nature of the beast that's going on, if half the department or a quarter of the department or however many members were to walk, so say we went from 50 members down to 10, we have to, as a community, as a township, people still need care. How are people going to be cared for if we have no members on the fire department? Is that going to be an extra cost given to some other township? So is Salem Township gonna have to come in here and do runs for us? And then is that going to increase costs on the taxpayer because it's an outside township?
And they're a higher tax bracket, so
And they're a higher
they will
tax
cost
bracket?
more.
Or how far have you guys thought about this?
None of that is in play right now. Right now, there is a workplace investigation. If you're advocating that we do not investigate allegations in the workplace, that includes any firefighting personnel.
I'm just thinking,
I mean, that's what it sounds like you
I'm
guys
just-
are saying,
No, I'm
because
just
everybody's
curious
gonna walk
for-
because we're doing an investigation. That's not right.
No, it's just the timing is poor. But we
Very.
understand that there's things going on,
Very.
but with everything that's going on,
Doesn't look good.
But
You know,
like I said, we're not the ones
we
being
understand
affected.
that.
I mean, there's
We
nothing
get
we
it,
can
we
do
understand
about
it.
it. It came
If I
up
sat there,
now. The
if
timing
we
is
did this at
horrible.
work, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, the timing is absolutely horrible.
But, you know, I'm gonna throw out this to you, is that morale is in the toilet. I can't tell you how many times I wanna walk away. So, but I morally don't.
Appreciate
But,
it.
but I tell you what, morally, I'm getting close. So on Wednesday nights, when things go south and my pager goes off, I'm gonna hand it to one of you three. Let it be known.
We're trying to do the right thing. Under law.
Under law, you're
We're
right.
following the guidelines of, I mean, we don't want to jeopardize our whole township. So we're following the law that's basically handed to us from the prosecutor, so our hands are tied. We have to follow through with this.
So all I can say, what you're saying, is that once you get some answers, you damn well better be giving it all to everybody.
Is that like a threat?
No, please don't take that as a threat.
Really?
Watch what you're saying. That sounds
Please don't
like a
take it
threat.
as a
It
threat.
also sounds like a threat that you're not gonna come out and save people if you get a call.
It's volunteer service, he doesn't have to.
So there's nothing that says he has to.
There's nothing that says he has to, you only have to provide fire service by law, not EMS service.
Okay, fire.
Yeah.
So if there's a fire, then what?
He still
He's
doesn't
not
have to.
coming?
Nothing legally says he has to show up.
I can
He's a
hand over
volunteer
my
firefighter.
pager, my badge and everything right now.
No, but you all took an oath. I don't like the way that
I
conversation's
don't
going. Let's just stop that.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. This went south real fast and I apologize.
No, and I have a lot of respect for you, so.
But nonetheless, it hurts, it's hurting the community.
I agree.
Over,
I agree.
maybe what's going on. And please take it from me that I can appreciate an investigation into something that's potentially awry. But it just hurts
The board-
timing.
The board is not holding this investigation up,
We understand.
but everybody has to comply with what needs to be done.
And ma'am, please don't think that I'm trying to threaten anything. I don't, but I just, all right, going forward, I just hope they diligently deliver news to us.
We will.
As a community. Because we all want to, live here safely.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for ORC 121.22 G1 for the purpose of the investigation or charges or complaints against a public employee. Does do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
You made the motion.
Second.
I said I'll entertain a motion, but yeah, I'll take it. Roll call vote.
Mr. Virginski?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Shelton?
Yes, and I'd like to ask Ms. Horvath and Mr. Mason to go with us.
Oh, sorry if I forgot. Just a reminder again that I will turn the audio off, but the video is going to stay.
It's not gonna
Up
shut
and
off
running.
after 2 hours.
What's that?
It did shut off.
Yeah, it's been shut off.
Oh, I don't, that's the first I've heard of it, so.
Oh, well, let me tell you, because we've been watching it at home, and it shuts off.
After like, it's at like 2 hours or.
Yeah.
Audio's back on.
At this time, I'll make a motion that we adjourn executive session. Roll call.
Mr. Brzezinski.
Yes.
Mr. Kern.
Yes.
Mr. Shelton.
Yes. And no action to be taken at this time. Motion to pay the bills.
Make the motion to pay the bills.
Respondent.
Nothing.
Do I have a motion?